If this is your life, and you've ever struggled to explain why it feels heavier, deeper, or more intentional than the lives around you, this message isn't finding you by accident. Some lives are not designed to move casually through the world. Some lives are marked before they ever begin. Not marked for ease, not marked for comfort, but marked for alignment. And if this is your life, you've felt it, even if you didn't have language for it yet. From early on, there was a sense that you were different. Not better, not worse, just different. You noticed things others overlooked. You felt things others ignored. You questioned things others accepted without thought. And sometimes you tried to shut that part of yourself down, because being different came with a cost. But the more you tried to blend in, the more life pulled you back toward yourself. That's usually the first sign of a marked life. People who are marked often awaken early or suffer early, sometimes both. You may have experienced confusion at a young age, lost before you were ready, responsibility before you felt equipped, not because something went wrong, but because pressure reveals structure. Diamonds are not formed in comfort, they're formed in compression. And if your life has felt compressed, constrained, or intensely shaped, it's because it's carrying something specific. A marked life is rarely linear. Your path may have looked fragmented, interrupted, full of starts and stops. While others seemed to glide forward, you were redirected. While others followed predictable routes, you were taken through detours. This wasn't punishment. This was preparation through separation. Because lives that carry influence are rarely allowed to remain unconscious. You may have noticed something else too. No matter how hard you tried to live normally, something inside you resisted. You could play the role for a while, wear the mask for a season, adopt the expectations placed on you. But eventually it became exhausting, because false versions of yourself don't sustain marked lives. Truth eventually demands embodiment. At some point, you likely realized this. You couldn't pretend forever. You couldn't unsee what you'd seen. You couldn't unknow what you'd known. You couldn't shrink back into ignorance. And that realization didn't feel empowering at first. It felt isolating, because when you awaken, even slightly, you start to see how asleep the world is. Marked lives often walk alone before they walk aligned. You may have felt misunderstood, misread, or projected onto. People didn't always see you. They saw what you triggered in them. Your presence challenged comfort. Your questions disrupted certainty. Your authenticity exposed pretense. So some people resisted you, not consciously, but energetically. That resistance was never about you being wrong. It was about you being real. There's something else that sets marked lives apart. You don't crave shallow meaning. Surface-level explanations never satisfied you. Easy answers felt incomplete. Performative belief systems felt hollow. You wanted truth, not slogans. Depth, not dogma. Alignment, not approval. Even when you didn't know what you were searching for, you knew what wasn't enough. And because of that, your life may have felt delayed. Not because you were behind, but because you refused to settle. You wouldn't build on foundations that felt false. You wouldn't move forward without integrity. You wouldn't trade alignment for speed. Marked lives move slower at first, but deeper. There's often a moment, quiet, personal, and unmistakable, when someone realizes their life carries responsibility, not superiority. Responsibility. A sense that what I do matters, how I live matters, how honest I am with myself matters. Not because the world is watching, but because you are. That inner accountability is the mark. If this is your life, you've probably felt called without being summoned, pulled without being instructed, drawn without being told where to go. Not toward a title, not toward recognition, but toward coherence, toward becoming whole, toward living in a way that feels internally clean. This is where many people misunderstand marked lives. They assume being marked means being protected from hardship. But often it means the opposite. It means you are refined instead of spared, strengthened instead of shielded, awakened instead of distracted. Because clarity is worth more than comfort. You were never meant to follow the crowd. You were meant to anchor something steady in a chaotic world. Not loudly, not forcefully, but consistently. Your life is the message. If you've ever wondered why you couldn't escape this feeling, this sense that you're here for more than survival, this is why. Marked lives don't chase purpose. They remember it. Slowly, painfully, honestly. And the remembering doesn't happen all at once. It happens in layers. Through loss. Through stillness. Through moments when everything false falls away. What remains is who you were always meant to be. This isn't the end of the message. This is the foundation. Because once you realize your life is marked, the real question becomes, what do you do with it? There's something else about marked lives that doesn't get talked about enough. You weren't just shaped by what happened to you. You were shaped by what didn't happen. The opportunities that didn't open. The doors that stayed closed. The paths that mysteriously dissolved right when you thought you were ready. At the time, it felt like delay, like rejection, like being overlooked. But distance was doing something protection couldn't. Marked lives are often kept from environments that would have rewarded the false version of them. Because success too early can lock someone into a role they were never meant to play. So instead of instant validation, you were given refinement. Instead of applause, you were given awareness. Instead of speed, you were given discernment. That's not accidental. You may have noticed that shortcuts never worked for you. Whenever you tried to rush, something broke. Whenever you tried to skip steps, life slowed you down. Whenever you tried to take the easy way, it cost you peace. That's because marked lives are built from the inside out. Anything gained out of alignment would eventually collapse. So you were taught patience, not as punishment, but as calibration. Another sign of a marked life is this. You're highly sensitive to inner dissonance. When something is off, you feel it immediately. When you betray yourself, even slightly, it weighs on you. When you live out of alignment, your body, mind, or emotions react. That sensitivity isn't weakness. It's guidance. You weren't designed to tolerate self-betrayal. You were designed to course-correct quickly. That's why ignoring your intuition was never sustainable. That's why numbing yourself only worked temporarily. That's why distraction always wore off. Something deeper kept calling you back. And slowly, you began to realize this truth. Your life wasn't asking you to become someone else. It was asking you to become more honest. Honest about what you feel. Honest about what you want. Honest about what no longer fits. Marked lives aren't loud at first. They become clear first. This is why your journey looks internal before it looks visible. Before the outer world shifts, the inner one reorganizes. Before recognition arrives, identity stabilizes. Before movement accelerates, alignment locks in. Nothing about this is wasted. If this is your life, understand this. You weren't delayed. You were being tuned. And tuning takes time. And if you're honest with yourself, you already know this. Your life has never been about rushing forward. It's been about arriving accurately. Every pause shaped you. Every delay clarified you. Every moment of uncertainty taught you how to listen inward. This isn't random. This is refinement. And once you see that your life is marked, you stop asking why it unfolded this way, and you start asking how to walk it consciously. Once you realize your life is marked, something shifts. Not outside of you, inside of you. You stop waiting for permission. You stop asking for validation. You stop explaining yourself to people who don't hear beyond the surface. Because awareness brings weight, and that weight changes how you move. A marked life isn't heavy because it's difficult. It's heavy because it's conscious. You see consequences before others do. You feel misalignment faster than others do. You sense when something is off, even when everything looks fine on the outside. That level of awareness is not common, and it's not accidental. This is why escapism never worked for you. Distraction felt hollow. Excess felt draining. Running from yourself only made things louder. Because marked lives are designed to be present. Anything that pulls you away from your center eventually feels unbearable. You may have noticed that you can't live divided. You can't say one thing and do another for long. You can't believe one thing and live another without friction. You can't betray yourself quietly. The inner consequences are immediate. That's the weight of the mark. And at times, you wished you were simpler, less aware, less sensitive, less perceptive, because life looked easier for people who didn't question so deeply. But what you didn't see was the cost of unconsciousness. Comfort traded for clarity, ease traded for truth, and your soul refused that exchange. Another aspect of the mark is responsibility without applause. You often do the right thing when no one is watching. You hold yourself accountable even when you could get away with less. You feel answerable to something internal, not external. That inner witness doesn't let you drift. It keeps you aligned. This is also why your growth happened internally before it showed externally. Before success, you developed discernment. Before recognition, you developed integrity. Before expansion, you developed restraint. You were being shaped to hold what others might mishandle. And here's something rarely said. Marked lives often feel late until suddenly they're exact. Nothing about your timing is off. Nothing about your pace is wrong. You're not behind. You're being prepared for sustainability. You weren't meant to burn bright and disappear. You were meant to endure, to stabilize, to anchor something steady over time. That takes refinement. As this awareness settles in, a new question emerges. Not, why me? But, how do I carry this responsibly? That's the turning point. Because once you ask that, you're no longer resisting the mark. You're integrating it. And integration is where power becomes calm. Not loud, not performative, not urgent, just grounded. As time goes on, something else becomes clear. Being marked doesn't mean your life becomes dramatic. It means it becomes deliberate. You stop reacting. You start responding. You stop forcing outcomes. You start choosing alignment over urgency. And that shift is subtle but powerful. Marked lives learn restraint early, not because they lack ambition, but because they understand consequence. You don't move just because you can. You move when it's clean, when it's honest, when it won't cost you your center. That kind of discipline isn't taught. It's forged. You may have noticed that chaos exhausts you more than it exhausts others. Drama drains you. Noise disorients you. Constant stimulation leaves you disconnected. That's because your system is tuned for coherence. You function best when things make sense internally, even if they don't externally yet. This is why solitude became necessary, not optional. Not isolation. Solitude. Space to hear yourself. Space to process. Space to integrate what life was teaching you. Without that space, the weight becomes overwhelming. With it, the weight becomes grounding. Another truth about marked lives. You don't get away with unconscious choices. If something isn't aligned, it shows up as friction. If something isn't honest, it shows up as fatigue. If something isn't true, it shows up as unease. Your life gives you immediate feedback. That's not cruelty. That's precision. Over time, you learn that peace isn't passive. It's maintained. It requires saying no when it's easier to say yes. Walking away when it's tempting to stay. Being misunderstood instead of misaligned. These choices aren't glamorous, but they're stabilizing. You also learn that being marked doesn't mean being rigid. It means being rooted. Flexible without losing yourself. Open without dissolving your boundaries. Compassionate without self-abandonment. That balance takes practice. At some point, you stop waiting for life to start. You realize it already has. Every moment of awareness is participation. Every aligned choice is progress. Every honest decision is momentum. Nothing is wasted. This is where marked lives mature. They stop seeing their awareness as a burden and start seeing it as guidance. Not something to escape, something to trust. And when that trust locks in, something stabilizes permanently. You may still face challenges. You may still experience uncertainty, but you no longer feel lost inside yourself. And that changes everything. There's a quiet moment that arrives in marked lives. It's the moment you stop trying to prove anything. You no longer need to demonstrate depth. You no longer need to explain your awareness. You no longer need to perform clarity for others. You let your life speak. Marked lives eventually realize that power isn't intensity. It's consistency. Showing up the same way when no one is watching. Holding your values when there's no reward. Staying grounded when chaos would be easier. That steadiness is rare. You also learn that not everyone is meant to walk with you. Some people are there to trigger awareness. Some are there to teach contrast. Some are there only for a season. Releasing them doesn't mean rejection. It means recognition. You stop forcing resonance where it doesn't exist. This is where your nervous system begins to calm. Not because life becomes perfect, but because you stop fighting what you already are. You trust your pacing. You trust your discernment. You trust your inner timing. And that trust stabilizes you. Another shift happens here. You stop asking, what do I need to become? And start asking, what do I need to stop carrying? Old expectations, inherited pressure, false urgency, other people's projections. Letting those go creates space. That space isn't empty. It's quiet. And in that quiet, alignment becomes obvious. Choices become simpler. Boundaries become clearer. Movement becomes intentional. Not rushed. Not forced. Exact. This is the phase where marked lives become sustainable. Not burnout. Not fragmented. Not scattered. Integrated. And from this place, whatever you build lasts. There comes a point when awareness isn't a burden anymore. It becomes a tool. A guide. A compass pointing toward the life you were meant to live. You stop measuring yourself against others. You stop chasing approval. You stop bending for expectations that never fit. Instead, you move with clarity. You act with precision. You respond from a place of grounded certainty. This is the space where marked lives finally feel steady enough to expand. And from here, everything else becomes possible. Now, everything comes together. The life you've been living, with all its pauses, challenges, and quiet growth, has a pattern. It is intentional. It is guided. It is marked. You are not a mistake. You are not delayed. You are not lost. You are tuned. Marked lives are forged by experience, refined by patience, and anchored in awareness. The world may not always recognize your timing. People may not always understand your process. But the unseen currents of your life are steady, and they are leading you exactly where you are meant to be. At first, it may have felt isolating, uncomfortable, even unfair. But in reality, that isolation is a sanctuary, a space where you learn to listen to yourself, to trust your instincts, to refine your inner compass. Everything external follows internal alignment. This is the defining principle. You cannot be rushed, distracted, or misaligned without noticing. And noticing is the first step to mastery. When you embrace the mark, you stop resisting it. You stop fighting the timing. You stop running from the responsibility. Instead, you step fully into your own life with clarity, purpose, and power. Marked lives are not always loud. They are not always visible, but they are undeniable. Every aligned choice, every honest decision, every moment of self-trust builds momentum, and that momentum becomes your legacy. Here's the truth most never realize. The mark isn't a burden. It is a signal, a beacon, a code embedded in your journey to guide you toward what only you can become. And once you recognize it, everything changes. You will still face challenges. You will still feel pressure. You will still be tested. But with awareness comes freedom. Freedom to act without fear. Freedom to grow without distraction. Freedom to live the life only you were marked to live. And when you fully embrace it, you will understand this. You are not behind. You are not off course. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. Marked, guided, prepared. And that is a life worth walking consciously, every step of the way.